My name is Sheriff Harlan Whitaker, and I've been the elected sheriff of Willow Creek County for the last 12 years. Before that, I was a deputy for 8. Before that, a farm boy who grew up on the same 200-acre spread my great-grandfather homesteaded in 1897. The land sits just outside the city limits of Pine Hollow, but about 7 years ago the town started sprawling like kudzu. Subdivisions crept closer every year until one day the Pine Hollow Heights HOA declared my fence line was now the edge of their prestigious community. They never asked if I wanted to be neighbors. They just started acting like I was. It began small. A surveyor's stake appeared 10 feet inside my hayfield. Then came the letters, polite at first, requesting I trim the unsightly brush along the property line and remove the antique tractor that detract from community aesthetics. I ignored them. My great-grandfather's 1948 Farmel H still ran. It wasn't decoration, it was history. Then Karen Mulvaney moved into the McMansion directly across the fence, the biggest lot in Phase 4, naturally. Karen was president of the HOA within 3 months. She had that particular smile, all teeth, no warmth. The kind of smile people use right before they hand you a violation notice. The first time she personally trespassed was on a Tuesday in June. I was repairing fence when her white Range Rover pulled right up to the gate. She stepped out in yoga pants, oversized sunglasses, and a clipboard like it was a weapon. "Sheriff Whitaker," she called, as though we were old friends. "We need to discuss your parking situation." I wiped sweat from my brow and leaned on the post-hole digger. "My parking situation? Your farm equipment. It's visible from the community pool. Residents are complaining about the visual blight. The covenants are very clear about prohibited commercial vehicles." I glanced past her at the 3 riding mowers, the hay baler, and my service truck, all parked in the open equipment shed 50 yards from her fancy wrought iron fence. "That's my property, ma'am. County zoning says agricultural use is permitted. Always has been." She tilted her head. "This is no longer purely agricultural. You're an eyesore on a residential corridor now." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "Residential corridor? That's still my cornfield, Karen." Her smile tightened. "It's Mrs. Mulvaney, and I'm sure we can reach an amicable solution if you just move the equipment behind the barn. I like it where it is." She scribbled something on the clipboard. "Then I'll have to escalate this to the board. Fine start at $200 per day per violation." "Good luck collecting," I said, and went back to digging. That should have been the end of it. But Karen Mulvaney did not believe in losing. Over the next 4 months, the harassment escalated in that special HOA way. Passive-aggressive letters, certified mail violations, drone flyovers with cameras, which I reported to the FA, and finally a petition to rezone my entire parcel mixed-use residential so they could force me to subdivide or sell. They got 63 signatures. I got a headache. Then came the parking war. See, the Pine Hollow Heights Clubhouse had exactly 92 parking spaces and 98 members who all wanted to attend Thursday night wine and wine meetings. The overflow had started using the shoulder of County Road 14, which just happened to dead end at my gate. One evening I came home to find 6 luxury SUVs parked nose to tail along my fence line, blocking access to my hay barn. A woman in Lululemon was taking selfies with my cows in the background like it was a tourist attraction. I walked over, polite as pie. "Folks, this is private property. You can't park here." Karen appeared like she'd been summoned by dark magic. Phone already recording. "Sheriff Whitaker, these vehicles are on the public right-of-way. The county maintains this road. Shoulder's not right-of-way for private parking," I said. "And you're blocking my gate." She smiled that smile. "Then perhaps you should invest in a wider entrance. Or better yet, sell to someone who appreciates modern living." I gave them 30 minutes. They didn't move. So I called my night deputy, Tommy Ruiz, and had him ticket every vehicle for illegal parking on county-maintained right-of-way. 6 citations. 6 impound warnings. By 9 o'clock, the lot was empty and Karen was purple. That's when she decided to go nuclear. It was a crisp October Saturday. I was in the front pasture burning brush piles when 2 sheriff's cruisers rolled up my long gravel drive. Lights on, no siren. My stomach dropped for half a second until I recognized the plates. One was Tommy's. The other was my own personal cruiser, which I'd left parked at the substation that morning. Two deputies I didn't know stepped out, new hires from the city side of the county. They looked nervous. Sheriff Whitaker, the taller one, asked. "That's me. We got a call about an armed suspect on this property. Female caller said you were discharging firearms at passers-by and threatening to shoot her dog." I stared at them. Then I laughed so hard I had to brace myself on the tractor tire. "Let me guess. Caller ID showed Pine Hollow Heights." They exchanged glances. "She said her name was Karen Mulvaney and that you pointed a rifle at her when she tried to serve papers." I pointed toward the fence line. "See that no trespassing sign every 20 feet? She hasn't set foot on my land since July. And I haven't fired a weapon today, been burning brush since dawn. You're welcome to walk the property line with me." Tommy pulled up then, lights off, shaking his head. Dispatch rerouted the call to the city desk. They didn't even check the roster. Rookie mistake. The new deputies looked like they wanted the earth to swallow them. I sighed. "Go ahead and do your welfare check. But I'm telling you now, she's playing you." We walked the fence together. No bullet casings. No spent shells. No Karen. Just a single sheet of paper fluttering on my gatepost, held by a rock. It was a demand letter from the HOA attorney, threatening immediate legal action unless I removed all offensive farm implements within 48 hours. At the bottom, in red ink, she'd written by hand, "I know who you are, but you don't scare me." "'Kay." I folded it neatly and tucked in my shirt pocket. Tommy looked at me. "Boss, you want me to file a harassment report?" "Not yet," I said. "Let her think she won." That night, I made a few quiet calls. Monday morning, bright and early, Karen's Range Rover led a caravan of 5 more SUVs down County Road 14. They parked, again, directly in front of my gate, this time blocking both lanes. She stepped out, flanked by the HOA board and a man in a cheap suit carrying a manila envelope. Process server, I figured. I was waiting on my side of the fence in full uniform. Star-polished, hat on, arms folded. My service cruiser sat behind me. Lights off, but very visible. Tommy's unit idled 50 yards back. Karen marched up like she owned the road. "Sheriff Whitaker," she announced loudly enough for the gathering crowd of neighbors to hear. "You are now officially served. This is your final notice before we file for injunction and—" I held up a hand. "Before you finish that sentence, Mrs. Mulvaney, you might want to look at the vehicle behind you." She turned. Every single SUV in her little convoy had fresh parking tickets flapping under the wipers. Bright yellow. Very official. She spun back to me, eyes blazing.